Okay, YouTube. So JD Delay is now again saying more lies, so I'm back to call out his bullshit. So he's on the unsubscribed podcast with angry cops, and he's trying to act like he's hard and shit again, and it's saying like that criminals should police their own. But as a Californian, a real Californian, unlike him who claims he's from California, but obviously even if he is, he's not a real Californian. Like, you don't just make rapos pay rent and fucking protect them from the inmates. You book them off a yard. That's what he's trying to say, is that inmates should book them off yard. So let's see what he has to say.
If in prison is you are who you associate with.
Yeah.
Like it's birds of a feather flock together. Chimos and rapos and punks and rats all have each other's backs. Like if you are in prison and you are sitting at the same table as a fucking child, you are a fucking baby.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's called a sympathizer, so he's right about that. But if he's making rapos pay rent, then as a Californian who doesn't like Oregon prison politics, even though I've been to Oregon, and multiple people I have talked to, including somebody from my county who I've known for a very long time, since like at least the early 2010s, who's on his way back up to prison and is going to court next month, straight up said that Oregon is one giant PC system. He did not lie about that. You hanging out with rent takers, you're a rent taker. It's just the way it is. You're no good. You're letting rapos walk yard at OSCI and OSP and EO and Snake River and Two Rivers. You're letting rapos and minimums. You're letting the walk yard work on weight pile. Like they could be paying rent in some of those prisons and still working on the weight pile. Like, nah. Don't even try and act like you're fucking hard, dude. Like, you're all Mr. Good Guy now. Oh, well, they need taken off yard, and you gotta watch who you associate with. Bitch, you associate with fucking. They're not even front porch gangsters or baby gangsters. You're straight up just fucking lames. Like, really, dude? Like, no. Like, I'm sorry to say it. But if you're making a rapo pay rent and protecting rapos from other inmates, don't come at me like you're fucking hard.
If you're sitting at the table with somebody who rapes women or kills women or children, you are that person. Who you associate with is a reflection of you. So they should have had the fucking moral aptitude and the spine to have those people removed from those positions. And in prison, oftentimes, since you don't go to the authorities about things, what that means is you have somebody, or you personally yourself.
Yeah, okay, so you're trying to say that you're gonna have a torpedo go after somebody. But that's the point. You don't take all the rapos off yard. You make the vast majority of them pay rent. And you book like one or two, you rarely book like one of them off yard and send a torpedo after them. And they still are on yard working on weight pile, and they pay tins of coffee, or sometimes, depending on if they've got a family member that's in a gang or a family member that's got juice with gangs, can straight up just slide through and not pay rent and walk yard. Or if they just think you're a fucking solid rapo, then they won't fucking do anything to you. Or if you're like the power fucking rapo, you physically beat the shit out of every gang member that comes at you, at some point they're just gonna leave you alone and say, nah, we ain't fucking with you. And they're gonna let you walk yard, use the day room, watch TV, use the phones, fucking work on the weight pile, do whatever the fuck you want. They won't fuck with you because they've learned not to fuck with you. And that's a problem, JD. Like, I'm from California, homeboy. I'm from the Bay. My hat straight says it right here. Ala fucking Mita. Hayward on my arm. 5'10 on my fucking hand. Californians should not be letting rapos walk yard. So you're an absolute disgrace to the name of California, bro, by fucking joining an Oregon gang and making rapos pay rent. You were a Californian. There was a gang called the California Boys. Why did you not join them? Well, I'm Irish. It doesn't fucking matter, dude. If you're a Californian, you're a Californian. You can't claim you're a Californian because you came from Florida and Oregon. You can't claim that shit. Don't claim California anymore. You're not a Californian.
Take them off the yard, which means, if you want to extort somebody into it, you send a torpedo. Torpedoes are great. You can call them a torpedo or a crash test dummy. You get somebody who's on a bad charge and you tell them, hey, check it out. We are going to fucking give you extra breathing holes all throughout your neck. And you're not going to be breathing through them for very long unless you go and do this. Here's what I want you to do. You see that big old fat child fuck over there? Go take flight on him. And you don't have to win. Both of you just have to go to the hole. Just go take flight, do it right in front of the cops, and then they both go to the hole, and your problem is solved for a little bit. And then by the time he gets out, he's...
But that's not normally what happens. Most of the time, you're making them pay rent, and you want them to pay rent because they're giving you fucking commissary. It's like a never-ending addiction for Oregon gang members. You make them pay rent and protect them so you can keep getting rent from them, whether it's money on your books from the streets or their commissary where people are putting money on their books and you're taking their commissary, motherfucker. You see, that's the whole game in Oregon prison. In my time in prison, I never saw one rapo get fucking taken off on by a torpedo. I mean, it does happen, but you ain't fucking putting holes through somebody's neck to do it. You simply just walk in their cell, you beat the shit out of them, and then you fucking tell them, you're going to take off on that rapo now, because otherwise we're going to keep beating you up. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the people you try and send a torpedo, that you try and use as a torpedo, beat the shit out of you.
Not going to have that. We talked about the incentive program. He just got a DR. He's out for at least 18 months. And if he ever gets back in, you just rinse, repeat. They should have been policing their own community if they wanted to keep a community.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, but that's the thing. Now you're saying this shit. You're trying to act like you're hard as fuck all of a sudden, even more harder than you already have been, by saying that rapos should get booked off yard. You're the one who straight up said the video that I did about it, straight up said that friggin' you are going to fucking make a rapo pay rent, and if I take off on a rapo, I don't mind if you take off on the rapo. In fact, I understand you will, you said, because I wouldn't want to be fucking yelled at and called names by a rapo either. But if you do, then I gotta beat your ass because you're costing me commissary rent. It's like, yeah, but that's a catch-22 because if you don't take off on the rapo, then you're gonna become a rapo. Yet if you do take off on the rapo, then the gangs are gonna beat your ass for costing them commissary. It's a no-win situation either way, dude, because Oregon's politics are so obfuscated and fucked up. There's a reason why Oregonians, when they go to the feds, click together. They don't click with the other whites, or any of the white Oregonians don't click with the other fucking whites. All the gangs in Oregon click together. White gangs click together because they can't click with the other fucking gang members at Sheridan. They can't. They won't let them because of the rent taking, because of the shit Oregon politics.
I'm sorry, but that is what it is. He sounds like he is on some punk shit to me. Because, I mean, well, look at his charge. Of course he's going to sympathize with people who kids and lock women in basements and rape them because he's on that same type of scumbag ass time.
Thank you.
That's the prison view of it.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying that the rapos should police the child molesters? Are you kidding me, dude? Don't deflect and place the blame on the fucking rapos, bro. You gang members should be doing that. You're in the position of power, right? You run the fucking yard and you let them walk. So no, that's your fucking problem, dude. You gang members should be booking them off the fucking yard every time they come on yard and bouncing them from every fucking yard they come to. Fuck if you get shot callers shipped off to other states. You just keep doing it until Oregon gets so violent they are forced to be put on their own goddamn yard with other fucking PC cases. And they are not to walk any yard except for those PC yards. That is what you need to do, and until you do that, Oregon's gonna have no respect in the in criminal communities, bro, other than in Oregon.
Felt my 2 cents was that, hey, listen, if you murder somebody but you cop up to it, if you did a whole bunch of, like, stealing, burglaries and bullshit, but you're trying to get out, even if you got like a life term for whatever, like, own your shit. But when you've got a bunch of child molesters in it and you're not policing your own, you're like, oh, cool, everybody come to the VFW, including like the guy that 2 8-year-olds and then got caught with a bunch of child
that you avoid. I liked it at Snake River. We had a system where there were certain dudes with bad charges that were like, they were allowed to go on the yard because they were paying gangs or whatever, which isn't my personal politics. You don't deserve sunlight or fresh air if you hurt a kid.
So you just admitted that rapos are walking yard. You're letting rapos walk yard. That automatically negates you as any sort of hard at all. You are a shit stain on the prison community, JD. You let rapos walk yard. Hey, my politics doesn't matter. You were in a position of power, right? You were some hardcore shot caller and shit. You could have changed those politics as a key holder. You could have been like, no, we're taking off on rapos, all of them, all the time. They're getting booked. Start catching new charges. We're changing politics in Oregon. This yard, they ain't walking this yard. None of them are.
But they all had to stay on the volleyball court. So you'd see just all these weird looking Coke bottle glasses, triple chins, neck beards.
Shomo's like, especially the ones that boys are like some of the most saddest turtle looking frog people I've ever seen.
And bro, like they're like, it's funny because, you can see it. You guys at home can see it if you watch stuff like Gideon and Alex Rossen's bus and Chris Hansen's bus. You'll see that the people that are into young boys, like they're mentally retarded, bro.
Yeah.
Hilarious to watch, bro. Like one of them it'll be the first day and one of them's like stumbling out towards the weight pile. I think I'm going to do some. No, bitch, you're going to go to that volleyball court. Get the fuck out of here before we you up.
JD, that's fucking bullshit because at OSCI when I was there was a straight up rapo walking yard working on the weight pile and was disrespectful about it. I tried to use a piece of weight. And this motherfucker was sitting there like, oh no, I'm using that. And I was like, oh, all right. I thought he was a good dude. I was like, I'll just come back and use it later. And then I use like several other pieces of weight, and I'm watching this motherfucker, and he just sits there and does the same thing to everybody. So I'm mad, and I'll fucking go to my friends, the car I was with, and they're like, nah, bro, you can't fuck with him. He's fucking protected. He's fucking on some bad dude shit. He's protected, and he can work on weight pile or do whatever he want, but we're not going to tell you who's protecting him because we don't want to get you in trouble and like have you taken off yard or any of that other bullshit. So you're fucking stupid. Rapos work on weight pile and walk yard. They do it medium, they do it minimum, and they do it maximum. They do everywhere, dude.
Yeah, nerds.
Fucking nerds.
The prison nerds are chomos.
Yeah, that's literally how it is, bro. It's crazy.
Fucking what? Dude, prison is.
You were talking about baby shakers, bro.
Yeah.
There was a dude that he was all over the news in Oregon. He had shook a baby to death. We knew he was coming. We didn't know what institution he'd land in because there's, I think maybe like 16, 17 prisons in Oregon last time I counted. I don't know, give or take. They might have shut some down. But he ended up landing at the prison that I was at. And he immediately asked for PC. And the cops were like, no, baby shaker, no. And when he came on the block, the cop announced.
What's PC for?
Protective custody. That's where they put you in a solitary cell and you sit there and you fucking.
Okay, JD, but you're saying this guy asked for protective custody, but you said yourself there's no PC in Oregon, so is there PC or not, motherfucker? Is there PC or not? You're saying this guy asked for protective custody, so you're implying there's protective custody in Oregon. But you yourself have said in prior videos there's no protective custody in Oregon.
Rot in a solitary cell and you don't get a lot of access, but it's still inmates making your food. It's still inmates bringing you your food. It's still inmates doing your laundry. So they'll like put broken glass and human feces in their food. They'll put there's chemicals in the laundry room that they can put into your laundry so that when you put it on, it's fine. But as soon as you sweat, like the moisture activates it and it gives you horrific chemical burns. Like sometimes they have to take you out to medical and you'll be walking across the control room floor and somebody will just take flight on your punk ass. But this dude, they refused him PC and announced that this is the baby shaker coming in, right? And so like everybody knew this dude was a baby shaker, bro. And he ended up falling up a flight of cement stairs, let's just say.
Tragedy.
No, it happens a lot.
And
it's horrible.
He was super fucked up and nonverbal when the cops came and took him out. And they just took him to the hole. They didn't even take his ass to medical. They just, he's on the floor all fucked up, covered in his own blood. looking retarded. They dragged him to the hole. He ended up dying of an aneurysm in the hole.
Damn.
Yeah. Not sad about that.
Similar to the way that the baby probably died. You know? Oh, no. Jeez.
Yeah. Isn't that poetic, though?
No.
It is.
Okay, JD, if that's really a true case, then that would have been all over the fucking news. The OSP and the OSP's head examiner would have had to have examined the body and all that shit, and like guards would have gotten arrested and fucking inmates would have gotten arrested. That shit would have got out. So that's an obvious fucking lie, dude. You're just lying all over again. Just like you talked about how that dude fucking was some solid ass dude, chopped some dude's head off at Victorville and stayed in the cell and never said anything, and then when they pressed him, he just kept his mouth shut for like 6 months straight and never got caught. You're a fucking liar, dude. You would have had blood all over him. There's so many different tendons, ligaments, and veins in the neck. There'd have been blood all over that dude, and that would have been enough evidence right there to prove he fucking murdered that dude. So you're lying out your ass yet again.
Poetic
poetic.
justice.
I just like all the guys who were like, "What happened? He fell up the stairs." It's like
The sound of a
Gravity.
skull, the sound of a skull bouncing off cement. I'm sure you've heard it.
I've done it to myself before.
Yeah,
Let me tell you,
it's not cool when it's super cool to me. He was always respectful. He was super cool. He told me, and he's not supposed to. He broke protocol to allow me to go pack my shit up. He said, "Delay, you had a warrant come from Portland, from Multnomah County. We need to roll you up. You're going to do the rest of your time over in the county jail, and then we're going to transport you to Multnomah. So I'm going to let you roll your own shit up." And I was like, "Okay, bet." So I went upstairs to my little room and I threw like my Discman. This is how long ago this was, and my CDs and like 3 cartons of cigarettes into my backpack, and snuck around the little guard station and made a bolt for the door because they had to buzz you in and out. When somebody got buzzed out, as soon as the door opened, I ran right past them. And so they're running after me, right? And then I see COs coming from the other direction from the jail. Like their response time was impeccable. And I'm running and I run through a parking lot. And to get in the parking lot, you have to jump over these shrubs that are about yay high. But there's a little tree with some landscaping wire running. And Deputy White, a guy I genuinely like, right behind me, jumps and his foot hits the landscaping wire and he goes, and I'm like, I stopped and I'm like, "Deputy White, are you okay?" He goes, "Just stop, Delay." And I'm like, "No." And I fucking start running.
Oh my god, dude. So you're saying that you tried to escape from the jail and your dumbass tried to see if the cop was okay? What type of 2-bit criminal are you, dude? There's, like Mob Deep said, there's no such thing as halfway crooks, JD. So what the fuck? Like, seriously, dude? You're just gonna try and escape the fucking jail, and then halfway through escaping, the cop hurts himself, and you're just like, "Are you okay? I feel so sorry for you." Fucking, you're a liar and a lame, dude.
I get to the other side of the parking lot and cop cars are pulling up, opening the door, raining down on me. And I just throw my backpack in the air and I'm like, "I'm just playing. Let's go back to jail." And I get down, right? And they put my hands behind my back. They cuff me up. One CO has his boot on the back of my head, pushing my face into the pavement as hard as he can. And like 6 of them just boot mosh the shit out of me, bro. Just kick the shit out of me. Meanwhile, there's witnesses, because this is out right in front of like this restaurant. And they're just boot moshing the shit out of me in front of all these civilians who are like, oh, they're like gasted, bro. And they take me and throw me in the hole. And they come to me at like, it's hard to tell the time in the hole, but to me, it felt like 4 a.m. I also probably had a really bad concussion. And they're like, "Hey, if you sign this, we won't press charges for escape. And that's 5 years in prison." And I'm like, "So I can go home?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Okay, you can go home." And I'm like, "What does this say?" I can't even read. I'm so fucked up, bro. They fucked me up. And they're like, "It just says that you're not gonna."
What is it, Rich? If I'm chasing you and ass whooping's coming with me?
Yeah, dude. No, I'm not blaming them. Like, I deserve to have my ass whooped for that. And a cop got hurt, bro. Yeah. A cop got hurt. I didn't physically touch him, but a cop got hurt because of my actions. I deserved an ass whooping. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying it's hard to read, you know? So like, they're like, "It says that you're not gonna sue us or try to press charges for excessive force." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I signed this shit and I'm like, "Can I pack up and go home?" They're like, "No, stupid. You're gonna stay here in the hole until we take you to Portland to go face those charges." And I was like, "Shucks."
JD, either you're the dumbest motherfucker on the planet and actually fell for that shit, or you're lying. And I tend to believe you're lying. Because if you escape a jail, no ifs, ands, or buts, you are being charged with escape. You would have probably been charged with escape one because that cop got hurt in the process. You may not have touched him, but he still got hurt. That's considered a violent escape. That's escape in the first degree. That's 100% guaranteed fucking prison time. It may not be a measure 11, but you will be doing prison time. If you escape jail, a prison sentence is applied. Is implied. Like, I'm sorry, dude. You're a fucking idiot.
I just
I
like
thought I was
got
gonna go
myself.
home.
I'm gonna make it on foot. I'm sure I will run as far as I can on
Your
foot.
planning wasn't very good.
No, dude, no. That's. I said I was a career criminal. I didn't say I was good at it.
No, you're not very good at it. You were never a shot caller, and if you were, you weren't a very good shot caller. Hell, no juice at all, bro. None. Cause like you're a big, tough, old fucking Irish pride shot caller, but you had to have security at a fucking Antifa protest in Portland. If you were a real shot caller in Oregon, this state is so fucking small, and there's barely any people compared to someplace like Washington or California, especially California. You'd be able to walk wherever you wanted to go. There'd be no place you would have no problems walking anywhere in this state. Everybody would respect you if they were about that life. So, yeah, fucking big bad old hide behind the fucking big old hand on the law because I'm a rat when I go to a fucking protest because Oregon's so big and scary and there's domestic terrorists there. Fucking bitch ass fascist. Take your Nazi ass fucking someplace else.
When that door opens,
I can make a run for it. Where am I going? I haven't thought about that yet.
And it's funny because when I went to prison in Oregon, it was after that, and they still let me go on outside work crews. So I go from being in a maximum security prison where
Okay, that's bullshit. Now I know you're lying because if you even so much as tried to escape a jail, you're not going on any outside work crew anywhere, regardless of the state. No fucking way they're taking that chance. It is a straight up. It is straight up. Oregon DOC policy that if you escape from anywhere, whether it's a medium, a maximum, or a minimum, you can never go to a minimum ever fucking again. If you escape from Snake River or OSCI or OSP, you will never step foot at Mill Creek, Shutter Creek, I forget the one in Lakeview, friggin' Columbia River, Deer Ridge, Powder River. You will go to none of them. You are lying.
I'm sleeping with a tiny shank under my pillow and shit. And like, I'm ready to flush that bitch if I hear the doors crack and it's a CO there, so I don't get a 3 to 5 year charge for having a blade. And then they move me to a minimum. And the day after they move me there, they're dropping me off in a park with a chainsaw. And I'm like,
That's a change.
vroom, 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 bitches. I love chainsaws. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's
actually
fucking go. Let's fucking go.
You're
I'm
happy.
like, I got a big girl that can drop off tobacco and liquor in these bushes for me so that we could get drunk while we're out here and smoke lots of cigarettes. I was like, this is great. But it was like a culture shock. But they let me go on the outside work cruise with that on my record. But when I got to Florida, I was just in a county jail and they had work crews that were going out and I applied and they were like, no, you're denied. And I'm like, why the fuck am I denied, bro? Like, and they're like, oh, you had an escape. And I'm like, no, I signed a paper. They're like, F you.
All right, dude. So you go to Florida and they say you can't go because you don't have an escape, but Oregon didn't say you had an escape and would let you go out. You're fucking changing up your story. That's lying as a motherfucker. If you catch an escape, there's no prison or jail anywhere in the United States that will let you go on an outside work crew. Or if you take medications, no matter what it is, whether it's a high blood pressure medication or mental health medication, if you take medications, you are not going on an outside work crew. You're just not.
I'm like, fuck. God
you,
damn it.
You running around with a chainsaw is like doing that reminds me of like giving like a 17, 18-year-old brand new private like any sort of
Yeah.
equipment to like, hey, go mow the lawn over there. Here's a chainsaw to cut down some branches. And they're like, "Ooh!" You're like, no, private.
Well, I've worked for tree services and shit. I know how to run a wood chipper or a chainsaw. But did I tell you guys the last time I was here? Did I tell you guys the story about how we made a dude stuff a dead bird's head in his?
A
I'm
little
drawing
bird.
a blank.
Yeah. I don't believe I've heard
Sitting
this
up.
story before.
My butt's butthole. Do with Petey. I took care of it. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. The head falls off and it's up your buddy.
Somebody got a big lighter.
That dude, prison's wild.
Dude, prison sounds just like barracks life, though.
I mean, prison is terrible and it's
but a
stupid,
little
and
bit.
I hate to admit it on the internet. I always try to let people know how degrading and disgusting it is, and how it's your own fault, and how you're leaving your family hanging. Like literally, you're leaving your family hanging. You're damaging your family. Like you're damaging your community. It's not a rite of passage. It doesn't make you a man. It means you were a fucking scumbag and you were sloppy enough to get caught. But the part I don't talk about on the internet, because I'm not trying to encourage motherfuckers to do shit, is it's also kind of fun and hilarious sometimes. It'll be like 90% boredom, and then there'll be like 8% fun, and then 2% extreme violence. So, I
That
mean,
sounds exactly like Barrack.
Yeah, JD, you just contradicted yourself. Because at one point, you always try and make Oregon sound so fucking hard, but yet you like doing your time easy, you said. And now you're saying it's like 8% fun, 2% violent? That's Prisney land, bro. That's straight up Prisney land. I just go, how do I know? Because in California, 100% of the time, you are always violent. And on the streets in California, if you're in a gang, 75% of the time, you're getting violent, dude. Like, and you dumbasses repping 81 support merch, yet you're a fucking rat. That's real fucking smart. Like, keep it up.
Life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say. It's just like boot camp barracks life.
God, man, fucking wild to me. I'm like, that sounds terrible. All of it. What is it?
Death row.
Death row. There is no telling you the date, the time. It is, they will just come to your room and be like, and walk you to the little hanging room, and you just hang, and then they leave. It's wild when you see how they operate their system. It's like, whoa.
So what if
the
you don't
fuck?
if you don't reflect, they hang you?
I actually, let's see what happens.
Right? Because like if you're like, get my shoes are off, and they're like, you need to reflect for a week, and you're like, fuck you, I'm not going to.
What's that movie with Jared Leto?
Secondary character, because he played allegedly she gets kicked out of
Anyways, YouTube, I just broke down a bunch of JD's lies. Like, as always, he's always lying or embellishing about his time in prison. Like, he's a fucking idiot. If he escaped from jail, there'd be some sort of escape charge all over the fucking that we'd have found the fucking paperwork for, and me and Flames Trotter have posted almost 99% of his rat paperwork between the two of us, and I was the first one to break the first part of his paperwork to prove he's a fucking fraud and a rat. Like, why people even give this guy the time of day is beyond me. But Big Bad Shot Caller gotta have friggin' fucking security when he goes to an Antifa protest in Portland. This Portland's oh so scary. You know, he kind of reminds me of one of those rednecks from South County that have knocked out every drug addict in the fucking area, and as such, they think they're the hardest motherfucker on the West Coast until they run across somebody like 4 or 5 times their size. So they're like 5'10", 175 pounds, and they run across somebody that's 6'5" and 275 pounds of muscle, and is bearing down on him with a fucking carpenter hammer, and is like, "No, I'm not gonna fuck with you. I'm gonna hurt you." And they just bitch up and run, and they run straight to fucking Facebook. Straight to fucking Facebook and run their mouth, and then gaslight their redneck homeboys on how they're gonna jump that motherfucker and they're gonna whoop his ass and shit. And then most of the time they just get the shit beat out of them. or they just call the cops because they have no other option. That's JD in a nutshell. Anyways, I'll catch you later, YouTube. Have a nice day.